I've just finished work, heading down to the buses. Just while I was on the train, I was chatting to a mate of mine who's got a Merlin here in Australia. He sent me some photos of my Merlin MB375 in service in London. I have not been able to find any anywhere. So we got to chatting, and he's bringing his Merlin along to Busfest as well. His isn't painted yet. It's almost all done bar the painting. He's going to do it back into London Transport Red. He's also got an RML. So imagine his two in their London Transport livery and my two in the Eggins livery. Anyway, that's not going to happen this year, maybe next year. But this year, you UK guys are going to love. You're going to see two preserved AEC Merlins that are alive and well on the other side of the country, back together again, because at some point they did spend a little bit of time at the same depot here in Australia, at the same operator, which was in Ipswich in Queensland. So we're looking forward to that. Anyway, I've got work to do, and I've got to say, I've got to come clean with you. I haven't been entirely honest. I've been keeping a secret. Welcome to another episode of Steve Stuff. I've been keeping a little secret about the speedo. Now remember when I was talking about I needed to do something with the speedo in the original clock style, I couldn't find one, so I went with just a little digital one like this that I was going to mount just down there like that, so when you're driving, you could glance down and see very, very clearly in large numbers what speed you were doing. And not long after I bought this one, as luck would have it, I found something else. After I'd paid for this, it's a clock style speedo, slightly smaller. Remember, I did find one that was bigger than the hole that was there, and it would have meant I'd have to enlarge the hole and butcher the dash, and I got a call from Scott saying, don't do it. So I found a smaller one, same color face, very similar style as the original, slightly smaller than the hole that's there, and I bought it on a whim, and I thought, I'll see if I can make it work. I've been coming, well, it arrived yesterday. I came down last night and again this morning, and I've come up with a solution. And here it is. That's the original. And that's what I've bought online. Slightly smaller, slightly narrower, actually a lot narrower. It comes with this screw-in thing at the back, so that screws in and tightens it up against the dash. Now what I had to come up with is a way to get that to sit in nice and tight against the back of the dash, and also at the front not show the hole that is bigger. Obviously I'm doing everything one-handed here because I've got one hand holding the camera, but you can see there's quite a bit of a difference in the circumference. So what I came up with was I got a piece of scrap aluminium. I cut a hole in it the same size as this. I'm not going to show you that piece of aluminium because the hole, it's terrible. I did use a circular hole cutting saw attachment to my drill, and it was crap, and that'll teach me to buy cheap crap off eBay. So in the end I had to use a little blade and a grinder. It's messy, but it does the job. So this goes through the plate, like so, like that. This aluminium plate is behind the dash. Then that screw, the big screw, that part there, the big, it screws on that, smushes that nice and tight into the plate. And then the only problem I have is that the hole is 100mm and this speedo is 95mm. Nice piece of rubber trim, not only to dress it up and make it look tidy, but also to give the speedo something to sit against and pull nice and tightly against. So all going well, that should work. Don't know if you can hear that or not. Coldplay are playing here for the next 4 nights. Not tonight, but they're over there doing sound check. Paradise. Now I just took all that back out again. It fits and looks good. I need to find a power source now, and just here, this is the switch that gives these gauges power, and also power to the transmission controller and the door controller. So I think there has got to be 24 volts going to that, and if I can tap into that and use it to feed power to my speedo, I should be okay. By the light of the silvery moon, that's how it looks. It's just sitting there at the moment. I haven't screwed anything in because, as you'll see in a minute, I need to get back in there in the morning. If I turn the cab light on, there we go. That's how she looks. And then if I turn the power on, which gives me power to all my gauges, there we go. Apparently there is a way to change that backlight colour, but I mean, these ones here are already red, so I'll leave it. I have found something, and I think this is where I picked my earth up. It's got something to do with that, because if I put my right blinker on, everything's fine, even though that light doesn't. It only comes on if I turn the transmission controller off. There it is there. Anyway, I'll look at that another time. But if I put my left-hand indicator on, so yeah, I think I might have to find a new place to get my earth from. Anyway, that's a job for tomorrow morning. But it's in, it's found the satellite, and it looks okay. I'm happy with that. Be back in the morning. I love this place. You just get to see some amazing things sometimes, and there's just some incredible cars in there owned by crazy rich people. But I had to wonder what this was. Judging by the cross-ply tyres, white walls, it's something old. It's something quite short wheelbase. It's something V8 with the twin exhausts. I asked. It's a C1 Corvette chassis, original. I can't wait to see what someone's going to do with this. You know the one, the first model, the C1, with the fiberglass. Well, they've all got fiberglass bodies with the twin headlight. Well, they've all got this. That's a rare duck right there. Okay, back the next day, and I'm still really impressed with that. It looks good. I have to find a different earth, because remember I showed you last night when I put the indicator on, there's a resistor, I don't know. So I've got to find a better earth. I'll get into that now. Later that day, it's after work now. I said I wasn't going to come down because of the Coldplay concerts, but I rode the scooter, and I'm glad I did, because there is people and traffic everywhere. Anyway, I want to finish this off. So I've got to get under there again, tidy up some wires, tighten everything up. I've got the earth right now so I don't lose it when the indicator's on. Just triple check that everything works properly. There's a bus in my way over there. I can't really get out. I wouldn't mind going for a quick scoot around the yard to see if the needle actually works. But anyway, while I've got about an hour's daylight, I'm going to get stuck into this. So I've just been in the back. I've tightened everything up, tidied all the wires up, taped up anything that was bare, and just tightened up the back of the speedo. That's how it looks now. That's the, you can change that, but I don't know if you can see here, but these gauges, if I just go over that way a bit, these gauges here already have a red backlight, so I'm just going to leave it red. It's not like it's going to be driven a lot at night. I just want to show you what happens when I turn the battery on. So this is my feed here. So right, that's off. Bus is still running, but nothing will work now. The transmission won't work. The doors won't open. When I turn this off, just watch what the GPS does, what the needle does. And then it cycles through all the colours that are available to you, and then it sits at the colour that's chosen, and it's telling me now that I'm doing 0 kilometres. So it's got a GPS fix now. I've put the GPS receiver unit down just at the front, under the dash, in front of the windscreen, where it'll get, you know, full line of sight. And now if I put the indicator on, you can see everything's staying. I've just got to try and work out why, when the transmission controller is on, that light doesn't work. Even though the indicators are working, that one doesn't. But if I turn the transmission controller off up behind me, it comes on. Something to do with the door. There was a light used to come on when the door was open. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it. I don't care because I can hear it clicking. The flasher unit behind me is nice and loud, so turn that off. While it's a bit dusky and darky, I might, and while the engine's running, battery's charging all right, I might just run around and check all the lights. So in here I've got interior lights, saloon lights, I've got the interior advert which is working, all interior lights, I'll show you those in a moment. Now Desto lights are working up there, and that's tail light, so I'll take you out and show you. So there's all my interior lights working. My advert, which is a fluoro. Those side ones are fluoros, but I kind of cheated because the, what do you call them, the transformers up in the back, above the back window, they've all been taken out for some reason, so I went down a different road, but I made them look as original as I could. They're basically LED lights. But that's the interior, they're all working. Step lights, oh, one of them is. I have to get in there and have a look at that one. Marker, both front park lights. Marker there. They're the lenses I'm looking for, if anybody knows where I can get some good new ones. Then we come around to the back. I can see I've got tail lights. I've got rear markers, tail light, rear marker. So everything is working as it should. I think I saw in the last video when I was reversing up, this brake light is not as bright as that one. So I'll check those at some point to make sure that they're both as bright. I want this bus to be as safe as it can be. But yeah, that's looking good. I'll just turn the headlights on. Okay, so we've got one headlight working on low beam, one headlight not working on low beam, fog light working, neither headlight's working on high beam. So I've got to get in and check some wiring, and Desto light's working. So I wonder what's going on with those headlights. It's probably nothing, just a loose wire or something. Same as that step light. Right, so I just checked, I've got one headlight working on low and high beam, one headlight not working at all. Obviously that's the culprit, and hopefully it's just the switches, the plug's falling out of the back. Not going to worry about it now, but it's something to check later. There we go. Lights are working. For the most part. That's about all I can get done tonight. So Coldplay are on just over the other side of that building in a core stadium. I've kind of got to go that way. I'm thinking by now everybody should be inside. It's about 5 to 8. I think the show starts at 8, so I should be good to get on my trusty steed and go home. Adam's here, he's got his jet washer out, standing on the roof. That's game. So I'm going to leave him here, head home, watch a bit of TV, and see you soon. I went and bought a marquee today. They're on special, half price, so I nabbed one for the bus show. And I'm thinking I'll set it up in between, say I've got the decker there, I'll set it up right in the middle. If it's a hot sunny day, like it was last year, there was no shade. And if it rains, well, it'll give us some protection. So what I want to do now is see if I can put it up. Right, so this is just the general frame. I'll put this over here so I've got room to spread it out. It's supposed to be 3 meters by 3 meters. They reckon it's easy for one person. And I've done one of these before. Bring it out, and then at some point put the roof on it. I might have to fine tune that a bit. Okay, so the other night this headlight wasn't working at all, high or low beam, which makes me think it's probably just the plug. Sweet, that's a good start. There's the culprit. Plug's completely out. Now, I know you purists are going to say I've used the wrong plugs, but I left all that there. I've got the original headlights. I just made it a more modern plug. I wonder why that's come out. It's in there pretty tight. Before we go any further, we'll test it. Job done. One of the other things that didn't work was this step light, so we'll see if that's just the same. See if it's just a loose terminal. All she is. Fixed. Try and stop it from doing it again. Righto. Result, running out of light. So these come apart in a two-piece, so I should only need to undo the bottom. And I can't remember if it's a single globe or a double globe set up for stop tail. Oh, loosen that one. Okay, the whole lot's going to come off. Okay, indicator. I wonder which ones. Oh, I'll soon see when I look at that. No, can't see. So, the other way to find out which is to go and turn the tail lights on. Those springs are really... I reckon that's the stop there, that big one. I can't read what's on there though, that's the trouble. 21 watts, okay, yep. So that's the stop. 21 watts. So what I might do is compare it to the one that's on that side. As it turns out, they were two different types. So this is it's a dual pole single filament, right? 24 volts. This is a new Nava, and there was an older style British one in there. So I went and got my last Nava out of the box, and hopefully it will fix it. Well, I can't test those. It must be the same setup as the Decker, where the brake lights don't work unless there's air in the system. So I'll just trust that they're bright, put the lenses back on, and I'll test them over the weekend when I've got the bus out and the engine running and the air tank's full. So until then, okay, so I got this, probably way too much, but I'll have plenty of spares, and that's this afternoon's job, replacing the rubber that's in there and getting that new sock on the radiator. hopefully by the end of the afternoon I should be able to cross those 2 jobs off the list. Also test those taillights, stop lights actually, see if they're working a bit better. Weather's okay, still forecast for a shower or 2. Coldplay's on tonight, so I can't stay too long, otherwise I'll get caught in the traffic and the shitstorm that is that. So I'm going to get stuck into it right now. I won't do any painting today just in case it does rain. Tomorrow's much better weather. Tomorrow can be paint day. Difficult to see down in there, but hopefully you can. That's the new stretch of hose with the new sock. Proper sock this time. The last time was just a paint strainer. Did the job, but new clamps, new rubber, and I'll do as I'm told and leave that sock in there for about a year. Let it do its job. Now, let's see if it leaks. Tank's filled up again. I reused most of what I took out, double strained it. Gonna start it up now and get some temperature happening and some pressure. Remember that Corvette chassis I showed you the other night? I was wondering where they put it because I noticed it was missing. Good strong oil pressure. Such a good sounding engine too, and I've noticed as I've been running it a bit more after having sat for a year, it's less smoky on startup now and it's less smoky under load, which are all good things. So we'll let it build up some air, then I can check those brake lights and we'll let it get warm and see how we go for leaks with that new hose and the new socket. Righto. Just going to go down into that front yard again, try and get a bit of temperature up and see how that new hose goes, but also keep an eye on the speedo, see if it works. First test. Oh, it's moving! We have a speedo, and we have a clock style speedo, which looks a bit factory. See, that coach is parked right on the corner there. Awesome. 20 kilometers an hour. That's a great relief that works. There was a lot of work doing that to it. Door opening. So also just want to start checking everything's working for my driver as well. Brakes, steering. I've mentioned before we're not going that far, but we want everything to work obviously. which reminds me I've got to check those brake lights as well. While we're sitting here, let's... Don't know if you can see that, you can't. That's the near side wiper. Work. Right. So happy about that. Much better than a little digital one, and looks factory for the time being until we can get the OG one working. Pretty much got the place to myself. There's so much room now. A bunch of buses are all out. So now we'll just test those brake lights. Speedo works, engine's not getting hot, and there are no leaks. So that's all good. Brakes work, steering works, all the lights work, indicators work, so we're on track. What has happened since I got here an hour and a half ago, as you can see, is the clouds have gone away, along with the chance of rain. So I'm going to get the ladder over yonder, get some paint, some tape, and start touching up first this one and then that one. Might need more than one touch up. Great weather today, and I was thinking about it last night. If it was going to be a good day, there's a job I need to do on both vehicles and I might as well do it now. I've got the Merlin out, I'm just letting it idle and charge the battery for a bit, and I'll get the double decker out shortly. Once I do this, I've decided I'm going to pressure wash both the roofs. At this particular venue where the bus show is going to be, there are some high vantage points, and last year there were people taking photos and videos from those high points, and there's nothing worse than a really well presented bus with a dirty roof. So I might as well do them now while I've got the yard to myself. The Merlin's actually not too bad, which makes me hope that the Decker isn't either. So you can see there's just a little bit of muck on there. I'll get up there and give it a scrub and a hose down. The rear section, the rear panel there, I'm standing on a ladder, so I'm a bit wobbly. It's slightly different colour. It's a little darker than the rest. That's because I've given that a clear coat. I was testing out the clear coat product that I had, and I just did that one section to see how it looked. And it did come up well. I've just one day got to get around to doing the rest. I've started on this side and I'm just scrubbing with a broom and some truck wash along the roof. I'll let that kind of sink in as I go around, and then I'll hit it with the jet wash. turned into a big job because when I scrubbed all the dirt with the soap and then went back with the jet wash, the parts that I haven't jet washed in time have dried and baked into the roof again, so I've had to hit them twice with the broom, which is why you see me going up and down, up and down, up and down. Anyway, you get the picture. I'm going to keep going here. Just having a break and a coffee. That was a big job. One thing I noticed is the section at the back there, the very large there, that big creek, just over that section there, the whole lot has been clear coated, and it survived the pressure wash better than the rest of the bus did. The rest of the bus with the scrubs and then the pressure wash, the water is a kind of light milky paint colour, so I think it'll be a good idea to do it sooner rather than later. Clear coat the roof, probably of both of them. Could be a job for Christmas, but I got a bit of time, and because the clear coat takes 6 hours to dry, I think, and it needs 2 coats. Anyway, that's just buggered me for a while. What I think I'll do is, while I've got the jet washer out, I might just go around the entire bus with that soap and give it a bath while it's out, see if a lot of that muck can come off, and then maybe it won't need a wash next weekend. We'll see. Last little bit. Okay, I think that's clean enough. I don't know if I'm going to get to the double decker today, but there's one thing I do want to wash while I've got everything out. The poor old Ranger never gets washed because he pretty much gets driven to work once a week, driven down here a few times a week, and then when I go home, it's a dirt road. So I don't think I've washed him for 8 years. That all changes now. There's a hateful chore finished. Well, it's not hateful, I just don't like washing cars. And that's a good way to stay cool on a hot day as well. So that's that done. Now I think I'll pull the decker forward and start fiddling around with some paint touch-ups. Bit of excitement this afternoon. We've had a fire alarm. I was worried that it might have been 11:01 because I've got it sitting there idling, but they said it wasn't. But the alarm was going off inside the big shed, so we had fire engines, all sorts. I've just let them in, they've walked around and it's all good, there's nothing. It's a really windy day, they reckon it's probably just some dust. So, yeah, some modern stuff to go with the vintage stuff. I've just been around and tidied up some of those stripes, interrupted by the fire brigade obviously. There's another little bit up there needs doing. Unfortunately there's another Coldplay concert on today, so that's the reason I came down early this morning, so I could get everything done and then go home. But those stripes are looking better. This bus needs a good wash, but I left it running because it was so hard to start. I was a bit worried about turning it off and then not getting it to start again, but it seems fine now. I reckon because it hasn't been running since before I went overseas, it might have just needed priming. As I mentioned the other day, I'm sure I'm going to find more jobs that they're doing as I go, and yes I have. Look at the state of these ugly screws. I did that because what I've done is I've hit them with the paint stripping wheel when I was polishing this, and also this looks terrible. So I've got a little trick up my sleeve to do those screw heads. It's called model paint. What rusty screw heads? What rusty wiper arm? The little finishing touch that goes here, that's on this bus back in the day. So I've had one made up. I'm going to try and put it on now. Stick a fork in me, this video is done. I had to come inside so you can hear me, it's so windy. Anyway, got a lot done. It doesn't feel like I have, but I know I did. Just time consuming stuff like washing the roof and then, you know, the rest of the Merlin, going around this one with the ladder, with the pinstripes. I wasn't going to turn it off. It was really hard to start. I think because I haven't run it since before I went to US. And it might have just, I mean, it could have got a little bit of air in the fuel, I don't know. It just felt like it wasn't primed and it needed priming, the lift pump, I don't know. In the end it started, I ran it for an hour and it's running sweetly again. Scott's coming down next weekend, so we'll have a look. While he's here, we'll just give that one a shakedown run as well. But we're getting ever closer. Happy with the jobs we got done today. It's really down to the cosmetic stuff now. Just, you know, plodding away. I'll come down through the week, the weather's looking good. And yeah, well, when you see this video, we're only a week and a half away. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my Sunday now. There's another Coldplay concert on tonight. It's the last one So I'm getting out of here early. I got down here early so I could get out early before the traffic starts to build up. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you soon on Steve Stuff. No pool today.